Hi guys, what is going on, and welcome back to another video on Conqueror's Blade. So, a slightly different one today, or I probably should say a slightly more lazy video, if I'm honest. I was just trying to grab some footage on the ShieldMaidens for a second visit, and kind of was thinking about doing a proper video with all the intro music and everything, but I just couldn't really get very many nice clips with them. And with time running out, I kind of thought we'd take a bit of a look at this one just as a clip on its own, because it's kind of an interesting one, and we sort of get on okay, but also kind of highlight some of the same problems that I just tend to have with these shield maidens. Because even though I think I am enjoying them more now than I used to, I still really find they tend to have the same problems for me, and I seem to make the same mistakes with them that gets me killed kind of easily. I know some people have been getting on pretty well with them, and they can certainly have their moments, but for me personally, I just tend to still really struggle to get them to work for me quite how I want them to. So anyway, but I thought they were worth a revisit because, they are the kind of the top unit of Season 7, and to only have one video on them kind of seems, I don't know, not quite right somehow, particularly when we've had like almost 2 or 3 videos on the Sons of Fenrir already. So anyway, as the battle kicks off, we'd already lost the AB point. Obviously, we don't bother defending the C point. Now it's just a kind of time to regroup on the base, and basically waiting to see what happens. Given that I find shield maidens don't really work so well in those larger fights, I was thinking up on the walls is going to be my best bet. And as we come up here, but having a little bit of a look around, we've got some berserkers climbing up. It's definitely a problem for us. Unfortunately, I completely screw up my ult, go for the wrong unit, and now we've got a maul here as well, and a full unit of berserkers. I'm starting to get a little bit nervous. It's not quite really what I had intended. Still got them on cover commander mode. I find them actually fairly effective against berserkers in cover commander. They seem to concentrate their damage quite heavily, and it does seem to cut through them relatively effectively. But the double maul is more of a problem, but we soon munch our way through one. We're able to really sort of catch him in that situation and then push him up. And there goes the second one, managed to take down with our hero. And we start to push into these paladins. It's a little bit more difficult. I try and step in as a hero to take a chunk of that charge damage because I'm trying to protect the unit. And I really did take a chunk of that damage. But we're able to get in. We're able to use my sort of a combination really of the charge and then the triple strikes afterwards in sword mode to be fairly effective there. I think that was probably the best thing to do in that situation. I don't think I would have got a Guardian up in time once I cleared that staircase. And by countercharging them, I think it negated a lot of their charge damage and we're kind of able to get away with it. We lost 4 units, unfortunately, but we have just wiped out a unit of berserkers, a unit of paladins, and 2 enemy heroes. So I don't think we can complain really too much. I just realised I was getting shot by enemy arrows there, but thankfully we didn't lose anyone else. And obviously on my way back to the supply point, because the unit very much definitely needs to be healed up. But that's certainly not going to be the last we're seeing of the wall. And I think it was the right thing to sort of pick the wall. As I say, I think in the larger fights, holding just like a line is best left to things like stalwarts. I mean, there's certainly enough of them in games these days. So I don't think that's really where this unit excels. It's the sort of mobility and hybrid sort of flank skirmisher. At least that's kind of how I've been playing these girls. So as we come back down, I actually thought I'd called them to me, but I'd obviously left them in spear mode. And so that's why I thought they were coming towards me now, but they're not, because I've just pressed triple strikes rather than cover commander. So yeah, that was a bit unfortunate, but not really to matter. They didn't actually push too hard. And I think there I just realised, why are these shield maidens not moving? What an idiot. Anyway, get them coming towards me, moving them. I thought there was a bug with the cover commander, which is why I used the shield trim. But then I realised, yeah, I'm in sword mode. But we actually have enemy bow, enemy maul we can see on the top wall there. I'm thinking about how I'm going to deal with that. When I saw this spear was also interested in going up, that was sort of what convinced me to go for it. I saw the maul, one of the mauls jump down. There's a lot of mauls in this game. But we decided to go for it. Go for the bow player, try and get him knocked down. Unfortunately, a musket comes up, which is making things more difficult. And now I've got sort of a maul and a musket to deal with, although we have killed the bow player. Go for the self-heal, and I'm just trying to get damage on this musket when, unfortunately, another enemy hero turns up. So that adds a second bow hero now to the picture, who manages to escape skill himself off the wall. And then we're just left with the musket. But all this time, I'm getting shot at by enemy arrows. That maul hero has certainly racked up a fair bit of damage. And thankfully, we get a handful of extra kills there with them, but we're starting to take more damage. I don't know if I could really say that I would do better with paladins in that situation. Yeah, I thought they were going to go off to the right there, which is why I brought them back. I thought they were going to go right in front of the gateway, and I thought, yeah, let's not do that. But yeah, I don't know if in that situation I would have realistically done better with the paladins or not. Probably a tough one to call. I just find, in most situations, I find the paladins more comfortable to use. I think it's because of the active block, really, for me. But it may also partly be just I'm more used to them. I mean, that's, always something. They just seem to survive a little bit better when I make a mistake. And since I make quite a lot of mistakes, that's a pretty handy attribute to have. And I also find that they're quite easy to push over enemy heroes and kill in a similar way to the cover commander works. So even though the cover commander on the ShieldMaidens is nice, I feel like I'm almost working a little bit with the cover commander on the paladins because they have that such tight shield wall. You can just X and V them like a cover commander. But paladins certainly can't do this. I should have gone into Guardian, but I panicked. What are you going to do? These Laos run straight into the front of it and don't get through. Now, admittedly, they're not necessarily being amazingly well controlled, but then we get a unit of Armigers, some get through, but look how little damage we're taking and how much kills we're getting against basically 2 stacks of cavalry. Okay, we take a little bit of a knockdown, a little bit of further damage. But, I mean, come on, that is actually genuinely pretty impressive. They do seem to hold a lot better now since that buff, and that's the first time I've really tried them properly against cavalry in a sort of fairly clean engagement. It was really just cavalry, managed to lock down the hero before we could disrupt the formation, and it shows they can actually be fairly effective. Now, we don't know whether those Laos are max level. They probably weren't on Devastation, they were just sort of moving around freely, so, got to take it with a pinch of salt. Does look like the Armigers charged, to be honest, but again, lower tier unit, so you've got to take these things with a little bit of a grain of salt. But it shows a little bit of what the unit has in terms of its potential. We then go up to have a go basically at these archers, but I unfortunately get thrown off the wall. I quickly whack the unit into sword mode and try and put them onto their triple strikes. They do a little bit, but really, unfortunately, that spells the end of it for them, because they get caught out by that maul and basically butchered by the remaining arch units, which unfortunately managed to really escape, although we get a few little kills on them. I was a little bit optimistic, perhaps charging those PVs at the bottom, but I thought it would be a little bit of fun. So that really is quite a good game, I feel, for summing up my experiences of the ShieldMaidens. They definitely can be good. I feel like maybe a better way of describing them is that they certainly have a higher skill cap than the Paladins. Or they certainly take longer to get used to, maybe, is a better way of doing it. And I just seem to have a bit of a hard time really getting them to properly work for me. Every now and then you have a few games where you do really well. Obviously when you pin a hero down and you can, cover commander over them, it's lovely. They seem to be fairly effective against cavalry. Seems to be pretty effective, I find, against berserkers actually as well, in terms of just walking into them. Because they're so clustered, they do so much burst damage onto that front row of berserkers. It seems to overwhelm their health pretty quickly. So yeah, all in all, certainly have their moments, but certainly perhaps not the most dominant unit ever. But anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. A little bit of a strange one this week, just a little bit of a low effort video. So yeah, sorry about that. We'll try and be back to a normal, more high quality video next time. Hopefully you've enjoyed it all the same, and I shall see you guys all on the next one.